Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session on Group Discussions Made Easy, which is a part of a Placement Edge series by Nucleus of Learning and Development. Today's game plan is to start with GD basics, what, why, and how. I'm your coach today, Dr. Dhara Sheth, and we'll discuss about GD basics and then how to open the GD with impact, own the discussion, like how do you participate in it, how do you summarize your body language and voice, common GD pitfalls, handling tough situations, how to be ready for GD, prepare for it before even the GD starts. So these are the points that we will cover today. Let's start with GD basics, but before that, keep a pen and paper handy. If you have some ideas or notes, you can jot them down because the best ideas today are worth capturing before they fly away. You might get some inspiration while listening to the session. Keep a pen and paper or some digital note taker handy with you so that you can take down notes wherever needed. The PowerPoint presentation will not be shared, so please do not ask for it, but please feel free to take screenshots of any screen, any notes, any points that you like. What is group discussion? Group discussion is a structured conversation among 6 to 12 participants who exchange views on a given topic. It is commonly used in interviews and admissions to evaluate candidates on communication, critical thinking, and interpersonal skills. Participants also express opinions, analyze issues, and collaboratively discuss to arrive at conclusions or share insights. Apart from placements, group discussions are also used in a lot of places where they want to shorten the number of participants who reach personal interview. Like even if I have to connect with Gen Z today, then even in shows like Roadies, you have group discussions from which shortlisted candidates are taken to interviews, right? So reality TV shows also have now started doing all this. But today, what we will focus on is group discussion for placements, where whether it is campus placement or whether it is a walk-in interview where group discussions are being conducted, where the HR person, where the HR person observes you and then decides whether you should be shortlisted for the interview or not. So why group discussion is important in placements? How does it help? It helps to assess candidates beyond resumes and technical interviews. Your resumes might have details about you, about your work in black and white. But when they look at you, how you talk, how you present yourself, how you present your viewpoints, are you capable of defending your point? Are you capable of explaining things logically? It gives them an idea of how you are as a person beyond your resume. To evaluate soft skills, that is communication, teamwork, problem solving, leadership potential, adaptability, ability to think on their feet. Like immediately, if you have to take quick decisions, how would you behave in such a situation or in a pressure situation or in a stressful situation? This is a live test of it. It also reveals a candidate's confidence, clarity of thought, and how well they handle pressure or diverse viewpoints collectively. So it makes them assess it helps them assess if you are a good fit for their company culture or if you are a good fit to be an employee in their institution. Which are the skills that the recruiters evaluate in group discussions? Communication skills. How clearly you are able to present your viewpoints, how fluent you are in your communication and in presenting your ideas. Teamwork. How's your attitude towards other people in the group discussion? Now it's a group discussion. It's not a debate. A debate is where you have to prove yourself right. If you are following pros, you have to prove pros are the best. If you are in the team of cons, then you have to prove that it has disadvantages. But group discussion is not about proving yourself right. So your cooperative attitude, your willingness to listen to others and accept others' views is also assessed. Leadership qualities, initiative to start or moderate discussion, guide it constructively if it has gone off track. critical thinking, and problem solving. They assess your analytical capability to examine issues and propose solutions. Now, it's a problem kind of, if the topic is something which is a problem and you have to find a solution, so then it is assessed. Also, in a GD of even 10 minutes, a lot of live situations happen. So in that scenario, how do you handle those situations? What are the kind of answers, or what's your line of thought in those situations? That shows whether you have a problem solving mindset or not. Overall confidence, overall your body language, positive demeanor, eye contact, posture, assertiveness is also assessed. Time management and organization, staying relevant and concise within time limits. Now you only have 10 minutes. If you speak for 5 minutes out of 10, then how are the rest of the good people going to speak? Also, if you don't speak up at all, if you speak for 5 seconds, that is also not okay. That will not make you visible. So how is your time management? How can you present your viewpoints concisely within the time limits, but also building a presence for yourself? That is also assessed. Now, there are 4 kinds of GDs that could happen. The first one is based on current affairs. It discusses real-world practical topics to assess knowledge and analytical skills. Like, should the developing countries take more responsibility for climate change? Is green energy the ultimate solution to energy crisis? Now, these are the topics which are hot topics in today's world. Climate change is a burning issue. Pollution in Delhi and Mumbai, air quality index is again a burning issue. So group discussions on this topic are called current affair types of topics. Opinion based. You have to express your personal views and beliefs, and there is less emphasis on hard facts. Like, is social media making us more disconnected? Is it taking away from human relations and rather making us connected more with the screen? That way. Can AI replace human beings, which is one of the most talked about topics in today's world? Is AI going to replace human jobs? Is AI going to replace human beings? Is AI going to rule over us someday? So these are opinion based. You don't have statistics and data to support it, but rather it is about what you feel. Case study based. It involves resolving a hypothetical scenario collaboratively. Usually, this kind of topics come for MBA students, like Amazon supply chain management and innovation, Netflix content strategy shift from licensed to original content. So because MBA students have an experience of case study based GDs, usually it is there for them. In other fields, there are less chances of it, but you never know. And then there are abstract topics. Centers on intangible or metaphorical topics, testing lateral thinking and creativity. Will humanity live on other planets? Is happiness measurable? I remember my brother once told me that in their college, once they had a GD topic of black. The topic was black. Now, it's a very abstract topic. It could mean the movie, it could mean the color, it could mean darkness on the world, or the darkness in human heart, or wherever you want to take it. So those kind of topics can also be there. Okay. So these are the 4 different kinds of GDs. Am I making myself clear? Okay. You can just give me, the thumbs up or smileys if you understand, if you have understood. And if you have any doubts, you can keep typing them in the chat box. I'll just take a look at it. No doubts so far. Wherever, if you want me to repeat a point, if you want me to repeat a slide, please type that in the chat box and I'll repeat that. If you're mistaking a screenshot also, you can remind me. Okay. So this was about different types of GDs and why do they have GD in the placement in the first place. Okay. So now let's talk about how do we go through this GD. If you are there sitting in a group discussion, how do you start it? How do you participate in it? And how do you close it? So let's start with the start. The winning start opening the GD with impact. Speak clearly and concisely. Limit your opening to 3 to 5 sentences, staying relevant and impactful. Okay. When you open the GD, if you're the first speaker, then you shouldn't be speaking so much that you take away time of everyone else. 3 to 5 sentences is good for the beginning. Set a neutral or balanced tone unless you have very strong evidence that can support your opinion. In the beginning, don't try to be very opinionated unless you have very strong examples that can support whatever stance you are taking. Because in the beginning, if you take a stance, it is okay ideally to change your views during the GD, but human tendency is such that if you change your stance during the GD, then it feels as if you were not very strong in your opinion in the beginning. So if you are not sure, rather set a neutral or balanced tone and just wait for 2-3 minutes and you will realize which direction everyone is going or which direction is having more examples or more support. It is better to be neutral in the beginning than to have very strong evidence, very strong opinion without strong evidence, and then you have to change your opinion in the middle somewhere. Invite participation by ending with a prompt that encourages others to add their views. Now, this is a leadership and team collaboration quality that you present something about the topic and then you say, I would like to hear what everyone thinks about this angle. So this is like now you have indirectly taken leadership in your hand. That, okay, now I want to see what everyone else also wants to share. So inviting contributions from other people. This is seen as a sign of someone who is very confident in their own self and someone who is open to listening to other people's viewpoint. And of course, initiative. Avoid vague or generic statements. Ensure that your introduction is specific and it is linked to the topics. Don't go off topic right in the beginning itself. If you have any doubts as to what the topic is, before the GD starts, clarify it with the moderator once. That is this correct? Have I understood the topic correctly? Now, if they are planning to confuse you and they have given you a confusing topic purposefully, on purpose, then they will say that, no, we will not explain anything to you. But if it's like by mistake you have become confused, then they will help you clarify it. So do that before the GD starts. Don't jump in with a wrong understanding of the topic, because if someone corrects you in the middle and says, Arine, you have understood the topic wrongly and this is of what the actual topic is, that's not a good impression to set in front of the placement officer or the sorry, not the placement officer, rather the HR of the companies who have come. Now, what are the different ways to open a group discussion? You can start with definition of the topic. You can talk about a statistic or fact, that is like percentages. So this many percentages of people, something of that sort. But don't make up something which you are not sure about. You can say roughly 30% if you are not sure if it is 25 or 35%. But you can't just take off a number out of your hat and like magically say a statistic which does not exist. Kuch reference hona chahiye. Or you can open with a quote from a famous person, a question that this leads me to think whether, you know, this could be this way or that way. I would like to hear opinions of people. That is also a way to open a GD and start with a balanced or neutral opinion. Now let's take a look at the examples of all these 5 ways to open a GD. Definition. Start with the definition if the topic is abstract or requires clarification. Like before we discuss, let's define what sustainable growth actually means. A statistic or a fact. Did you know 70% of companies now allow remote work? Or recent study shows that dash, 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 dash. Quote, as Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon. If it's something related to online education or something about compulsory education or whether higher education in, you should go to colleges abroad for higher education or not. If these are the kind of topics, you can start with quotes like this. Question, how does technology really impact our attention span? So anything that is related to human relationships, social media, digitization, you can form questions like this accordingly. Like in those reels when people ask questions and honestly they do not give anything which is of value in the answers there. But that is how you can open a GD or a balanced view that social media has both benefits and drawbacks. Let's consider both sides. Then you can list out two benefits, two drawbacks, and then say, I would like to listen from other people as well. So you have presented points on both sides. You are open to listening to other people. So that shows that you have taken initiative, you have presented your points, confidence, assurance, and also the willingness to listen to other people. Good teamwork. Okay, so clear with this 5 ways you can open a GD. Also, I hope you realize that in order to be able to do this on the spot, you need to develop a habit of reading. You need to read articles, you need to read news which are relevant to your field, not this sensational headlines about Iran put a bomb on Israel and Israel fought back. Not those kind of news, but news which actually matters, statistics and research which is actually impacting the world today, quotes by famous people, and trying to form questions and balanced views. If you have to say two benefits or two drawbacks of social media, you should also be aware of those points, right? So reading is what is going to help you prepare. Now, there are two ways to start: safe start and a bold start. A safe start is taking a neutral stance. Like, this topic has multiple facets, including economic and social impacts. Let's explore each before forming a conclusion. Or it would be good to analyze both pros and cons of implementing remote work policies in today's businesses. A bold start would be where you take a stance that either this is good or this is bad. Remote work is the future, and resisting it only hinders progress. Traditional office setups are outdated. Now, you have given an opinion already. You have not taken a safer side. I believe that the social media does more harm than good, and any benefits are minimal compared to its risk. Now, when should you take a safe start? When should you take a bold start? Before that, let's see what are the characteristics of both. A safe start is neutral or balanced. A bold start is assertive or provocative. The approach in safe start is that it explains or frames both sides, and the risk is low. It is unlikely to offend or alienate others. So what does it do? It builds consensus, it fosters teamwork, inclusivity, and there is risk management because the risk is quite low. Whereas in bold start, you take a very strong stance or make a surprising statement right in the opening. There is moderate to high risk. It can either energize everyone to discuss things, or it can also provoke disagreement from some other person who strongly believes in the opposite side. Now, bold start demonstrates leadership. There is more of a memorable impact. It showcases confidence and can set discussion direction. So when do you use safe start and when do you use bold start? Safe start is when you are unfamiliar with the topic, you really don't have much examples to share, or you lack deep subject knowledge, but still you want to show initiative and open the GD. Diverse or reserved group. The group dynamic is cautious or unfamiliar. You are not familiar with the people in the group. You have to play safe while speaking. You cannot offend anyone. So in that kind of situations, there is safe start. So see, when you are going for group discussions in front of placement officer, in front of the companies that have come for placement, you do not know them. And it is quite possible that the mix of students that you're getting for GD might not be people from your class, or could be people that you don't know well. So you need to assess the group mood. You need to ensure that things are safe in case you want to take a bold start. You have to be very confident. You have to be a good speaker, and you have to be very confident in the content or examples that you have. When inclusivity and opening the floor to diverse views are priorities, you do a safe start. And in situations where building rapport and consensus matters more than impressing with strong opinions. If you A bold start definitely does leave a very strong impression on the person who's watching it. But then if everyone else overpowers you and you are not able to support your opinion, it would backfire. The risk is very high. Strong knowledge or expertise about the topic is when you should do a bold start. You want to grab attention, establish a leadership position early, but this leadership position will not be established if you don't have very strong examples and very strong speaking skills. Both of these things are really important if you want to go for a bold start. If the competition is intense, then standing out is crucial. Confident communicators, and when you are willing and able, when you want to and you have the capability to defend your viewpoint against challenges. If it's a GD of 6 people and you are the one supporting this very strongly and other 5 people are not supporting you, you should have the capability to fight all of them with respect, politely, by explaining things logically. Only then go for a bold start. Otherwise, open neutrally, and then gradually in 2-3 minutes, you can take a stance. Is this making sense? Different ways to start and when to take a bold start and when to take a safe start? Everyone? So on that note, let's go to our next subtopic, which is once you have opened the GD, what do you do after that? After that, you also have to navigate through the entire discussion, right? So on the discussion, how do you participate in a smart way? Now, it is quite possible that you didn't get a chance to open the GD because only one person can open it, right? So there is someone else who was faster in speaking up and was a bigger of Anthu Cutlet. So you did not get a chance to open the GD. Then you can, but that does not mean you don't get a chance to impress the listeners after that. When to speak and when to listen is important. You speak when there is a relevant gap or when you can add a fresh perspective or valuable information. Listen to understand others' points, build on them, or politely disagree. Avoid dominating. Balance between contributing and giving space to others is key to collaborative discussions. But at the same time, you shouldn't be so submissive that you are hardly speaking up one sentence in 10 minutes. That is also not okay. Okay. You don't dominate. You be confident, you present your views, and then you ask others to add their viewpoints. So when you are asking others to add viewpoints, that shows your teamwork, but at the same time, it is an impressive quality of leadership also. So you show your leadership not by speaking continuously, but rather by presenting your points first. Of course, that you don't have to not do first. You have to present whatever you want to say in 2-3 minutes. You can't take more than that. Sorry, not 2-3 minutes. In 5-6 sentences. You can't take more than that. But then you have to keep on moderating the conversation. Like you don't, we will see later on what are the different ways you can do that. Adding value without repeating. So how do you add value without repeating the points? Concise, focused points. Don't repeat what something that anyone else has said. And if you don't have a new point, what do you do? If someone else has said something, you share a new example or a new data or a new reasoning to deepen the discussion. Refer back to earlier points before adding new arguments. So if someone has said a point and they have given an example, now you cannot recall any other point. So what do? You don't speak up? No. You say that just like this person said. You give them the credit. You connect it with the previous things and then say, just like this person said, I also feel that, and then you add a different, completely new example of that point. So that is how, if you don't have a new point, you can still continue speaking it, so that the other person feels, okay, yeah, I am given my credit. Everyone else can also see that you have this team spirit, but at the same time, you have a new example to share. Of course, if you have good new points to share, nothing better than that. Using transitions and polite interruptions. Now, ideally, you should wait for a pause, a natural pause before finishing a thought, or before like when someone has finished a thought, before you interject or speak up in between, right? But in that heat of GD, it might be possible that you don't get that space. So if you don't get that space, what do? You say something like, if I may add. The moment you get this micro pause, you just say, if I may add on this, and then you start your point. Or building on what this person said, and then you start your point. Yeah, if there are natural happening in the GD, no problem. But if it is not happening, then you have to fight for it very, very politely, with respect, in a loud voice, keeping not in that loud voice that you feel shouting. Your voice should still feel very polite, and you say with, if I may add on this, or building on what this person, whatever is the name of that person, or building on what you said, you can say that and start. You will have to interject. Very rarely it happens that in such GDs where everyone is trying to impress the hiring personnel, you get a space to speak up, or you get to wait for a natural pause. Usually you don't. So knowing what to say when you interrupt is very important. Practice it. If I may add, if I may add, if I may add, keep on practicing it in front of the mirror. So at that moment, it is a subconscious reflex that happens, that if I may add on this, and then you start. Interrupt politely with phrases like, sorry to interrupt, but could you please clarify on this? Now, if you want them to explain what they are saying, and if they are going about round in circles, or may I add here, may is asking for permission. So when you say, if I may add, or may I add here something, and then you say, you don't wait for them to say yes. If by the time this happens, you would have already gauged if that person will stop speaking or not. If you say, may I add here, will he or she stop speaking? And also, if he or she stops speaking, are there other 2 or 3 more people ready to take advantage of that pause? If there are, then if you wait for permission, your chance is gone. So just say, may I add here, or if I may add here, and then say what you want to say. But you still need to wait for that mini, nano, micro pause. Like when that person has completed a sentence, going on about an example, and probably they have started repeating the point and there is nothing more new to add. Once you feel that there is a full stop, like when I'm saying this, there are commas. Like if this space which is happening would have been a comma if it was a written sentence. Now, after this sentence, you can feel it is a full stop. So wherever you feel that this is a full stop, you just interject by saying, may I add here? That's how you can interrupt. Clear with this? This is a very important skill in GD. How to interrupt when you are not getting a chance to speak. Okay. Now, in GD, everyone has different roles. And some people can have more than one roles depending on how and where the discussion is happening. You should be aware of these roles and you should prepare for these roles so that when you are in the GD, you are well prepared. That is the only purpose of knowing what are the different roles. Roles help structure the conversation, improve collaboration, and raise the quality of outcomes or discussion. Apart from placement, also in life, when you will have GDs, like when you are discussing with your family, or when you are discussing with your roommates, ki aaj khana khane kahan jayenge? Where will we go to have dinner today? That is also a group discussion, right? What topic will we choose for our project? That is also a group discussion. Who will take what part of work? That is also a group discussion. So apart from placement, wherever group discussion happens, everyone plays a different kind of role. Adapting your role to the situation boosts participation and leaves a stronger impression in interviews. Switching roles builds essential skills like leadership, critical thinking, mediation, and clear communication. So let's take a look at these 8 roles. Initiator. This person is the one who opens the GD, starts the discussion with a clear definition, overview, or a question, or a quote, or a statistic. Okay, I've shared different ways you can open a GD. Now, to become an initiator, what are the things that you need to do? You need to have strong topic understanding. You have to practice your ability to frame questions or to present definitions clearly. You have to practice confident, concise, small, confident openings that introduce the topic. You have to prepare examples or relevant facts to set the foundation for discussion. And you don't get the topics in advance. So that is why you need to have good reading, so that you have enough examples, you have enough understanding of the topic to be able to give definition and your points right in the beginning. Information provider is someone who loves facts, data, statistics, and research to support the points. Now, this person gives this supporting points. To become an information provider, now, if you are an initiator, it's not that you cannot become an information provider, okay? Research credible data, statistics related to common GD topics, stay updated on current affairs, business trends, and general knowledge. Practice integrating facts naturally into conversations without sounding forced. So if the conversation is growing in a different way, like it's going in a completely, what should I say, on a different topic, and you have a statistic in your mind that you want to share. Now, if that is not relevant to the track of the discussion, if you just interject in between, that will look very rude, and it will be like, does this person not understand group dynamics? It would seem like that. So you need to also understand when to say what. If someone dominates or interrupts during, yes, we will talk about this, Kartika. That how specifically do you handle such people? Opinion giver and devil's advocate. Opinion giver is someone who gives opinions and supports them with examples and points. So for that, what do? You develop critical thinking. You need to have this ability to solve questions called give reason. In school, we used to have this, like give reason. Iska karan dijiye. So you state an opinion and you give reason or explanation for it. Prepare to use examples, reasoning, and evidence to support your arguments. So that's an opinion giver. Devil's advocate is someone who challenges assumptions and encourages deeper thinking. Actually, this position comes like in the church. Devil's advocate, like when they are choosing a new pope, there is one senior father or bishop. I'm sorry, I don't have exact 100% knowledge of the hierarchy of the church. So a very senior person in the church, he is given this position of devil's advocate, and his job is to keep on asking questions to the new candidates that but this is but you did it this way, was this not wrong, was this not wrong? So he is advocating from the devil's side, not from the God's side. So that is why when the candidates for the Pope give answers, they are clarifying all the questions that other people have about them. And finally, when they are elected as Pope, they get 110% support and reverence. So that is why this devil's advocate position is there. So similarly, in a GD, if someone's challenging assumption, oh, but how can you say this? Why can you say this? Aisa thodi na hota hai, is a devil's advocate position. So practice thinking from alternate or opposing viewpoints. So you should have examples related to opposing viewpoints. When everyone is going north, you go south, but you should have opinions that support you going to South. And again, changing stances in midway is wrong. Like now you convinced everyone to go to South with you, then you can't go back to North. You also have to continue going to South. Please keep that in mind. Hone respectful disagreement techniques. Disagree respectfully. Respect and politeness is a must. Okay. In GD, you can interject, you can interrupt if the other person has not stopped speaking continuously after 2 minutes, but politeness is a must. You cannot be disrespectful in any case. Everything has to be done with a lot of politeness and respect for other person, because that is one quality that is being watched by whosoever is observing your GD. The next, gatekeeper or facilitator, ensures that everyone gets a chance to speak, manages time and flow. So when someone becomes more dominant, you can say that, yes, we understand your point and you have given great points to us. Now we would like to also listen to from the other people. Would someone else like to speak? You can also interject like that. If you have already gotten your chance to speak, you don't have much more to add. And now if you will keep speaking, then others might think you are hogging the GD. If that is a situation, you can interrupt other person who's becoming more dominant and not letting others speak, and ensure that other people get a chance to speak. Also, you can encourage the ones who have not spoken at all. Okay, yeah, do you want to present something? So that person might not be good at interrupting on their own. You help them, you give them an opening, they speak 1 or 2 sentences. But what does it show? It shows you are a leader. So that gatekeeper or facilitator is also a role in GD, practicing managing group dynamics by encouraging quieter members and moderating dominant members. Build skills in polite interruption, tone control, and inclusive language. Prepare strategies to keep discussion on track and time bound. 10 minutes से सबको chance मिल रहा है. Harmonizer, settler. When two people start fighting, this person is the person who pokes his nose in between and mediates the conflicts. Diplomatically, politely, no disrespect. Developed conflict resolution and empathy skills to handle disagreements diplomatically. Now, usually some people are already in such roles. Like if you see your friend circle, in your friends group, someone must be such that who asks for everyone's opinion. Okay, three of us want to eat Chinese. What about the rest of you? Do you want to eat Italian? Do you want to go for South Indian? Taking everyone's opinion. When two people fight, there's one person who's always calm and grounded and helping them resolve that conflicts and keep the group together. So you might already be in such roles in your family or in your friends group. You can take up that role further in the GD as well, because you already have honed those skills. And if not, if you are interested in taking up such a role, you know which skills to develop. Practice calming techniques and finding compromising solutions. Work on maintaining positive tone and body language. Because you are the mediator, you cannot shout. You have to maintain a positive body language. Summarizer or gist maker. The one who gives summary of in between, like 3 minutes have passed, whatever points have happened, you summarize it and then say, okay, let's look at points further. When you don't have anything to add, this is also a role that you can take. Okay, summarizing that this person said this person said this, this person said this, let's take up more new opinions. Now after 3 more minutes, you again summarize it, and at the end you summarize the entire GD. That is also a role that you can play if you have absolutely no idea about what is happening with the topic. Practice note taking while listening to capture key points and consensus. At which points did people agree and on which points did they not agree? If they did not agree, what were the different opinions given? So you need to practice note taking so that in GD also you can take notes and keep on summarizing properly. Now, if this is the only role that you are playing, you cannot give wrong summary. Okay, your summary has to be correct. Develop ability to distill lengthy discussions into concise summaries. Work on clear, confident speech to wrap up conversations logically and coherently. Especially summaries given at the end, just like opening the GD, summarizing also happens at the end of GD, where usually people who have not spoken at all also try to take up this chance. And from what I have seen is there are usually 2 to 3 different people who summarize things. So you could be one of them. Observer listens carefully and might contribute less verbally, but offers insightful feedback later on. Now, this observer position is not helpful in our placement GDs. Okay, this is for life. In life, there are some people who prefer speaking less and might give some observations later on, or probably at the end of the discussion. They don't speak much. They provide constructive feedback and patiently listen to other people. But in your placement GD, so I hope you are clear with the different roles that are in the GD and what should you do to develop your skills for them. And the last part, the ending is the summary. So how do you summarize the GD? Clarity. 30-40 seconds, not more than that. Just like your opening has to be in 30 seconds, your summary also has to be 30-40 seconds. You can't take up 2-3 minutes of summary. Be concise. Summary is summary for a reason. You can't speak the entire essay in summary. It is short, captures main points. Stay neutral and balanced. Present a fair summary without taking sides. Unless the group has already agreed that, yeah, this is right, then you can say that this is what is the summary. If not, if there is still a lot of discussion going on and the time limit is going to get over, present a neutral and balanced summary. Speak clearly and confidently, use formal language and steady pace for impact. And as I told, there might be 2-3 people trying to summarize because now you don't have any more time to speak and they have to show that I have spoken something. It is quite possible that others are vying for this spot. So summary is a spot where there's a lot of fight happening. You have to be polite and wrap it up fast. Now, what should be the structure of the summary? Key points plus conclusion. You start with a brief introduction of the topic. Like today's discussion was on the impact of artificial intelligence on society. Summary begins with what was the topic, then highlight 2 or 3 points raised during GD. Like some participants emphasized AI's ability to improve healthcare and efficiency, while others expressed concerns about job displacement and ethical issues. So now you have presented 2 points, pros, 2 points, cons. Introduction of topic, points raised during the GD. Remember, do not raise any new points which were not discussed in the GD. Then it will not be called a summary. In summary, you never add new points. Step 3, mention if there was any consensus or lack thereof. Like was it like there were very 2 clear opinions, no clear consensus was there. Everyone agreed that responsible use of AI is essential, or if everyone has agreed to one conclusion, then they mention that there is consensus on this topic and we agree that it has to go this way. Murder is a crime. We have agreed on that. So that is where you can have a consensus. Usually in opinion-based GDs, it is very difficult to establish a consensus in just 10 minutes. And with a forward-looking or conclusive statement. Moving forward, balancing innovation with regulation would maximize AI's benefits while minimizing risk. Now, all these points should already have been spoken in the GD. In summary, you can't add new points. For all those people who feel like this is the time where it's my last chance to speak up, I will also add one more new point. No, then it is not called a summary. That is why you should take your chance speaking earlier, so that you don't have to fight at the end. Another example of a structured summary, today's topic of discussion was impact of social media. To conclude, our discussion covered the benefits of social media in connecting people and creating awareness, as well as concerns about privacy and mental health. While opinions varied, we all agreed that responsible usage is crucial. In summary, social media's impact depends on how thoughtfully it is used. Thank you. So this is how an actual summary goes. Topic, 2-3 points. What was, whether there was consensus or whether it was a balanced opinion, like both pros and cons, and a final conclusive statement with a thank you would be appropriate structure of summary. Clear with this structure? Okay. So now how do you choose what points you should include? Like what are the key points? So you choose key points by thinking of the points that directly address the main theme or question of the discussion. Like look for repeated ideas or widely supported arguments. These often indicate core themes. Avoid tangential or minor details. Okay, the ideas which have been repeated, the main idea, those only should be included in the summary. Include any consensus or common ground reached. If there was no consensus, then all the diverse perspectives like pros, cons, advantages, disadvantages, show two points of both sides. Select points representing different viewpoints expressed in the group to reflect balanced understanding. Impact and importance. Prioritize points that have significant implication, such as insights, challenges, solutions that stood out during the discussion. You can include all of this when you are selecting key points for the summary. Okay. Does that make sense? How to summarize? GD is agreed to a particular topic and I don't agree with that. So how should I explain my point of view? If every member of the GD agrees to a topic and you don't, then you need to have supporting points or evidence to prove that you are right. If you have examples, if to support your opinion, then you can keep on discussing with them. Not arguing. I'm not using the word arguing. I'm using the word discussing. So with politeness and respect, you discuss that, you present your examples. That I believe that because of these examples, I believe that this is my point. Now here, just because it is my emotion, like I believe that my religion is the best. Okay, great. Supporting points, if I have for my religion, the person of another religion would also have it. Why choose the word religion here? Because now this is a topic where you cannot, there is no, every religion is good. Every religion ultimately takes us to the higher being in its own way, or different paths lead to the same place. So you cannot say something is best here. But if this is a belief that I have based on my emotion, that should not come out during the GD. But if it is a belief which is supported by examples and concrete points, statistics, then you can present all of that. Ultimately, what is the purpose of the placement GD? The purpose of placement GD is to have a discussion where everyone can present their viewpoints and you can show to whosoever is the observer from the hiring personnel that you are confident, you can present your points. You also have examples to support whatever points or opinion you are keeping. And at the same time, you are someone who can work with the team, leadership qualities and teamwork, collaborating others, motivating and inspiring others to speak after you have spoken, contributing time to time. All of these skills are important. The purpose here is not to convince everyone else that they should come and join you. Neither it is that you can only show your skills by becoming the lone wolf. No, there are here what you need to show is rather teamwork and leadership and your own personal communication and confidence. Do recruiters prefer structured answers or spontaneous ideas in GD? Spontaneous ideas also you need to think in your mind and make it in a proper sentence again, because you can't take much time. So if that sentence is not already structured in your mind, you will not be able to present it properly. So think of that sentence, think of that example in your mind before you open your mouth to speak. Because if you make a mistake, everyone else will not allow you to, will not give you, will not forgive you for it. They might snatch the chance from you to speak. If you speak something wrong, no, you speak wrong. Because you will be fumbling or you will be taking pauses while speaking. And as I told you, any pause is a problem in GD. Everyone is waiting for that pause to take a chance to speak. So think in your mind, arrange those sentences in your mind, and then speak up. It's not about recruiters, but it is rather about the fact that others will not allow you to speak. If you give them a pause, if you are thinking and speaking, your chance to speak will go away. Unless it's a point where everyone has become silent in GD and no one knows what else to speak. That is the only scenario where thinking and speaking at the same time might work. But even then, if your sentence gives inspiration to someone else, pauses means your chance to speak is gone. Okay, so now let's talk about body language. How should your body language be? So now I want my participants here to tell me how the body language should be in a group discussion. You can type it in the chat box. You can unmute yourself and speak.
Our body language should not show aggression and entering into an altercation with the other participants.
Okay, no altercation. What else?
Uh, Being receptive and listening by leaning forward, not laid back kind of attitude.
Okay,
Like when
listening
we are sitting on
properly.
the chair, we observe students or participants that they pretend that they are listening, but their body language reflects otherwise. I mean, not eager to listen, very casual attitude, that should not be there. Use of open palms, hands, gestures, while talking to a particular query or answering a particular query coming from another participant, looking at the eye contact. That is basically eye contact, if I'm not wrong.
Great. So I think you have covered all the most important points when we talk about body language. We also have people answering in the chat box. Eye contact, posture, confidence while speaking, hand movements, uh, positive and confident while explaining things, sitting straight, using proper voice tone, and we should interact with others. Great. So let's take up all these points one by one. Now, when we talk about body language or when we talk about communication has two parts, verbal and non-verbal. Verbal is what we speak up, okay? The words that we use. But words that we speak only constitute 7% of communication. 28% is the tone of your voice, the pitch, the way you speak, whether you're speaking fast, whether you're speaking slow, your rate of speech, and how high you are speaking. And the rest, 65%, is your gesture, your posture, your eye contact, your facial expressions. So in a GD, usually you would be sitting. So sitting straight with your shoulders high, your hands gesture should be open so that it shows that you are open to accepting other people's opinion. And as rightly pointed out, when you are listening, you should be actively listening so that if you have to continue that point, or if you are looking for a space to I spoke my points, now I don't need to listen to the rest of the GD. That should not be like that. If you are disinterested, it shows on your face. Okay, so that should not be happening. You should be actively listening, nodding your head at the right moments, expressing, oh wow, yes, great, all those kind of exclamation should be there, so that the observer knows you are interested in listening to other people's opinion. So after saying that, please share your opinion, you also have to listen to it. That makes it a complete loop. Money tune and confidence to see each one. Money tune. What is money tune?
Probably it's monotone. We should avoid
Monotone.
monotony in our while speaking, because as you use the word disinterested, most of us when we speak, it is just for the sake of sharing our inputs, not that we are interested to share our points. So probably that's monotony.
Okay, so you shouldn't, like, if you are speaking, it shouldn't be in one single tone. Like continuously speaking, your voice has to go up or it has to go down, and it could be soft at some points, or you could, if there's some real emphasis that you want to put, you can also emphasize it. You know, that bold can also come with your voice, or that full stop and comma can also come with your voice. So it has to go up and down. And proper dressing, yes, Safraj. um, if you are going to appear for an interview, or if you are going to appear for a GD, then it is very important that you dress yourself up formally. Okay, so on that note, let's discuss
I
the
would
voice
just
and
like
body
to
language.
share something. You cited a very, you gave a very beautiful example of para language. The way you spoke right now, it was a very
Thank
beautiful
you.
way of saying how to modulate our voice.
Yes. So similarly in GD, you when you are emphasizing something or when you are speaking slowly, so politeness can be shown with your voice also. Your body language, your voice, everything can show your politeness while emphasizing that I disagree with you. Okay, so voice and language tips. Speak with clarity, confidence, and energy. Speak clearly at a steady pace, loud enough without sounding forceful. Use vocal variety to keep listeners engaged. That is, do not be monotonous, continuously speaking um, I, like we have heard Atal Bihari Vajpayee speaking right now, with due respect to the Prime Minister of India and a great man with great thoughts. But when he used to speak, it was very slow, right? We like it for me in my childhood. He was the example which our teachers used to say that don't speak so slow in Viva like this. Be fast. Now he was at a position where where his slow speaking was actually a hallmark, an identity for him. But for our placement GD, speaking so slowly, where I say avoid fillers and be direct. After every word, you are giving a pause where someone will take away your chance to speak up. And at the same time, you can't be so fast, like slow energy with good projection, confident posture, and purposeful pauses, and no one will be able to understand what you are saying. That is also not okay because they don't know what to do after this. They didn't understand your point. How do they build up and carry the discussion forward? So both these things should be avoided. Next, listen actively. You can lean in slightly towards, whosoever that person is speaking, or acknowledge others' input. Like I said, if you are building upon someone's point, you say like just as he or she said. I also want to share one more example on it. Acknowledge them, give credit to whosoever started the point. That is very important. Like it builds a link in a discussion. It is not a debate, so you have to connect everything in a flow. Consistent engagement, stay engaged with nods and brief affirmations, like absolutely that's true, and be respectful during disagreements. I see your point, however, or that's an interesting perspective, but may I add another angle to it, that way. So you don't say you are wrong. You say, I see your point, but however, I feel there is also another point, and that I will put that way. That is polite disagreement. Non-verbal presence, eye contact. Now here, as you can see, just by looking at the eyes of the person, it can be understood if they are looking at you or not. And That also shows whether you are listening to them or not. At the same time, don't stare at that person. Like that is very rude. After every 15 or 20 seconds, you should move your eyes here and there and then come back to looking at that person so that it doesn't feel like you are staring at them. Posture, sit or stand with straight upright posture, shoulders relaxed and back, head would be held high. No slouching, rather you should lean in a little bit forward so that it indicates interest and active participation when someone else is speaking. Smile gently and nod occasionally to signal agreement and understanding. Even in disagreement, you should smile and say, I see your point, but I also want to add another perspective, and then say. And your smile should not be sarcastic. It should not also be something like, you useless people, you don't understand anything at all. That should not be, that kind of smile should not be there. Not that villainous or sarcastic smile. It should be a very friendly smile, even if you are going to put a completely opposite point. That I see your point, but I disagree, and or don't use the word disagree. Say I see your point, but there's also another perspective that I want to add. With like even right now when I'm saying, you can probably sense that smile or that happiness or that joy in my voice. So you have to maintain that because it's a group discussion. It is not a debate. You are not fighting or arguing here. Teamwork, leadership and teamwork both need to be shown at the same time. Face the group. All of you should face each other. That is very important. Angle your body towards the center, not just one single person. This keeps everyone engaged and shows inclusivity. Control all your nervous habits like tapping, shaking your legs, biting your legs, tuck, 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 playing with pens. All of this should not be there. This won't distract the group and then also show that you are anxious or nervous. In nervousness, you will speak fast. Others will not be able to understand you. Also, they will see that you are not confident and your chances of speaking will be snatched away by other people. Okay. Also, if this happens once, you will lose your confidence even more. So avoid doing all of these things. Take a deep breath. How do you not do this? You take a deep breath. Shakshi, we will talk all about those situations. I have a special section for it. Take a deep breath 3 times. Inhale with your nose, exhale with your mouth. That will control a bit of your nervousness. Before going to the GD, you should reach there on time. You should be dressed well. Your water, going to restroom, all of that should be done 15-20 minutes before the GD begins so that you have enough time to calm yourself down. Okay? And deep breaths. Nothing works like magic. Only deep breaths work like magic. Instantly, anywhere, 3 deep breaths. Inhale with nose, exhale with mouth. It will control your nervousness. Okay? It will calm down the adrenaline rush, send more oxygen to your body and to your brain so that you can think better. And keep your hands visible. Use open, expressive hand gestures to emphasize points. Keep them visible. Avoid fidgeting them. Keep them loosely on the table. Use them for natural gestures. Hiding hands may be perceived as insecurity or lack of openness.